Morning, everybody. My name's Bill. This is Pirate Solutions Forestry, and this is Danny. Probably as you saw in the intro clip, I was bucking down a couple of very, very crooked, long pine logs. We have to cut some 2x4's today and edge off a few battens to finish out an order where the customer's coming to pick it up tomorrow. It almost went bye-bye on me last night. I almost shot myself in the foot because I cut all those 1x12s last night. If you saw the video, I think it came out first thing this morning. Today is Tuesday the 3rd. He sent me a text late last night saying, hey, hold off, don't cut my order. She's being a PIA. And to which I responded, I've already cut your 1x12s. And then he responded back, well, no big deal. I'll take the 1x12s, but let me check in with her. Then he responded back, she bailed out on me. She's a friend of my wife. Blah, 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 but I want the 1x12s. I said, fine. I haven't cut anything else yet. And he said, well, I need the 2x4's too. So we've got to cut him the 2x4's. I think he needs 12 of them at 8 foot long. I bucked the logs at 9 just because they fit on the bunks better. And really what I've been on a kick of lately is taking logs that have been sitting out there for a while for one reason or another. Mostly that reason is that they were too crooked to cut something else. So they're very, very long, say 18 to 20 foot long, but they're too crooked maybe for me to cut a 16-foot beam or 12-foot material. But they're okay if you take a selective section for just the right job for 8-foot material. So I'm trying to use them. And what ends up being too spindly will just end up being firewood for next year. So we're going to get cutting on this thing. And I do have a log in the log cradle. I'm going to put those 2 logs over there as well. Really, if I get an 8-inch cant, which won't be a problem on any of the 3 of these logs, then 2 of them are going to take care of it. I probably will just go ahead and mill some 2x4's for stock, or maybe mill some 4x4's out of it. You can always have 4x4's lying around. So that's what we're up to today. And tomorrow he has to come pick this up. I have an appointment to get fingerprinted and my picture taken for my renewal on my LTC. So I'm not really sure how tomorrow's going to work out, but we will get back cutting on the spruce order for Katie Silvestri, the young mom with ALS. We'll get back cutting on that tomorrow. So thank you for coming along for the ride. We always appreciate it. And let's get into it. So I just want to say up front, these are not very good logs, especially the first one that I have up here. It was sitting out in the pile out back. I had bucked it off of something because it was crooked, something long, and I must have used the straight section, and now I'm left with the crooked one. I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but it's extremely bowed like this. I did put it horns up for the top here. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut this apart and try to get some 2x4's out of it for his order, for David's order. Typically what I'd be shooting for is in a small log like this is a cant that's 8 1/8, so I can get 2 4-inch blocks out of it, and then 8 inches high that I can cut on inch marks to end up with really 1 7/8 by 4 2x4's. It's really the simplest way to do it, rather than trying to, what you would really need in the other side would be, you'd have 3 cuts, so you'd need 8 3/8. So you'd really need 8 1/4 by 8 3/8. However, trying to set yourself up for that always leads to waste. If I cut them on inch marks, really, I'll never have any waste. You know, so I'm shooting for 8 1/4 by 8. I'll try to set the 8 1/4 in my width on my 3rd cut, and then set the 8 on the 4th cut if it works out that way. We've got to clean up the top first and see how much good usable material is going to be left in this log. So that's what we're going to do. It's going to be pretty close. I'm going to try to take the top off at 12. And since it bows down on the other side, you know, hopefully we can pull it off. All right, so let's start taking it apart. We almost got the center, but not quite. Probably gonna have to come down to at least 10. And guys, there's a possibility we can't pull it off. We're gonna try, but there's a possibility we can't. I only need 12 of them. We have plenty in these 3 logs. It's gonna have to be 10, so let's just come to 10. And let's spin it and keep cutting. We'll take top off it. We'll start at 12. Probably just take this side to 11 and then spin it. We'll get it spun up. We'll try to set our width at 8 1/8. 8 and an eighth. 8 and an eighth. And it's not going to clean up on this dimension that way. So I'm going to have to try to get my width in the other dimension. This dimension 8's right to the outside. So we want to clean this side up at 6. And then spin it up, cut it to 8 1/8, and then we'll split it into 2 blocks and then cut down through it, and we'll get 6 out of it. And no sense of messing around with it. We're just going to cut it at 6. Yep. That was a pretty big cut. It's only, I don't know, there could have been a 1-inch board in this. It's pretty bendy. This just all becomes firewood. And also, you want to get rid of the outside of the log when you're cutting older ones like this. Now, what we could do right now to save ourselves a step is we could cut down through this at 4 and 2, turn it into 3 blocks, then spin it up and cut it to 8 1/8 and then 4. As long as I might have to move my clamp down, but let's do that. Let's just come down to 4. So we'll take 1 7/8. We're going to cut it there. Make sure my stops are all the way down. Yep. And we're going to have to lower our clamp just a little bit, and we'll cut it at 2. And you want to cheat the line just a little bit to kind of split the 16th because you're an 1/8, technically an 1/8 difference. Now, I'd only do this on a crappy log like this. If that was a really good log, I wouldn't have done that, because what you're doing is you're destroying your ability to take any flitches out of the other side. However, they can turn into battens because they'll be 2 inches wide. In other words, if you wanted to take a 1-inch flitch off this top, that when we spin it up, you just cut it into 3 2-inch wide flitches. So I do try to avoid that on a really good log. The thing about this log is it's so old, the outside really needs to go away. That's why I allowed that big thick cut. We really don't have any use for what's outside. And because of this dip in the log right here, there's nothing else there. I'm gonna cut it right at 8 1/8 and cut it at 4. And we got 6 of them. So 8 1/8 and 4. Now, if you say you could have cut battens out of the top, and I could have stole maybe one out of the center, I wouldn't give them those old battens. These will get cut up with a circular saw right into the bucket of the Bobcat and go right in the camper bin. Zero tension in the log. We're going to go ahead and cut it in half at 4, and this one's done. We're halfway home. Six 2x4s. We're going to come in and grab them with the Bobcat. They cut out nice and tension free. He was planning on building a chicken coop, but they'll be good for pretty much anything. And that really is how we take a crappy log and turn it into something decent, something that's usable anyway. And there's almost no doubt in my mind that I think the next one's probably going to finish the order. I'll get more than 6 out of that one. So I'll bring you along when we do that one a little bit later. But for now, we want to say thanks for the watch. I know this was a pretty little simple one, but it always helps to think your way through. Maybe something will get across to somebody. Hopefully you guys like, share, subscribe. We're always humbled by how many people watch. If you want to go to Norwood to buy anything or look at stuff or price stuff, please use my affiliate link in the description below. You can copy and paste it to your browser. It takes you right to Norwood and somehow tells them that you watch my video, which helps me out with them. I don't get any money out of it, but it helps me out with support and things like that so that they consider me an influencer. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Make sure you write a comment. If you like the view, hate the view, want something different, write a comment, let me know. I answer everything back for now until I won't be able to anymore, hopefully someday when we get huge. But for now, Pirate Solutions out.